Hey there everybody, Stuart Knight here with a quick video that I hope will help you possibly boycott some of your old ways of thinking and to hopefully help you consider a new way of thinking that ultimately leads you to a better relationship with yourself, with life, and one that leads you to a stronger relationship with life. So, I want to tell you a story about something that recently happened to me. It's kind of funny, it's kind of gross. I'm going to get a little bit graphic here, so if you're not into gross things, you might want to turn this off. Or if gross things turn you on, then keep this on. I landed in Calgary a couple of weeks ago. So I was doing a cross-country tour. I was speaking in Calgary, then I was speaking in Lethbridge, and then I was speaking in Halifax the next day. So the beginning of the week, I land in Calgary, and after 30 minutes of being there, I knew I couldn't leave the airport because I just knew something was wrong with me. I was feeling very sick. So I immediately found a washroom that was as secluded as I could possibly find. And within about 30 minutes, like I said, after landing, I'm on my hands and knees in the Calgary airport and I am puking my guts out, okay? This is like the middle of the afternoon. I promise you, I had not taken 5 shots of tequila on the plane. So I'm like literally, you know those kinds of pukes that you think to yourself, maybe my brain could possibly pop off my shoulders, or maybe this puke could help create new holes in my body because it's coming out of my ears, my nose, my mouth, but doesn't seem to be satisfied with those holes. It just needs more. So anyway, a horrible situation, and then you finish off and you're sweating and you feel like total shit. And then of course it happens again. So I'm like basically laying there on the ground in this public washroom. I mean, how horrible is that? In Calgary Airport, and the maintenance guy, he even asked me if I'm okay. I mean, the guy who's mopping the floor in the bathroom, he must have heard everything that had happened. And he's like, excuse me? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, would you like me to call a doctor? I'm like, oh, no, it's okay. I really appreciate that, but I think I'll be all right. Anyways, fast forward to the fact that I have to be on stage in 2 hours. Okay, so I figured, okay, maybe I had some food poisoning, maybe I got this out of my system, but I really don't believe that. I know that it's something worse. So anyway, I go and I get the car rental, and of course, it just happens to be coinciding with the time that Calgary is having an amazing cold snap. Okay, so like with the wind chill, it's like negative 40 degrees out. So it is freaking cold, man. Like my nipples were in my pockets, okay? And so I jump into my car rental. I'm freezing. I think, just get to the venue. Let's just do the gig. And then when I get to the venue where I'm speaking, I text message the client. I'm like, look, you know what? I explain what's happening. Could you please put a plastic bag behind the podium? All right, went on stage. How embarrassing is that? Like, I'm supposed to be the guy that everyone looks forward to seeing, and he's gonna get in here, and he's gonna do this big keynote, and I'm like, excuse me, I'm human, and I'm like puking and not feeling very good, so could you just put a bag on stage for me? It's embarrassing on many levels, and plus, it's not the kind of relationship that you look to have with your clients. Luckily, this was a pretty cool client, so I could talk to her that way. Anyway, 30 minutes now before I go on stage, once again, the body says, oh, no, 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 we are not done with you. Okay, we got some things we want to get out of our system. All right, so I am back on my hands and knees, and it's more violent this time than it was before. My head actually popped off my body. I had to get it and screw it back on. And so I eventually found myself 5 minutes before going on stage, and I'm shivering. I've got my winter jacket on and I'm cold. And then as soon as they announce my name, I take my jacket off. I go up on stage. I do a 75-minute keynote for a couple hundred people. And then I finish. And then I actually had to get into a car and drive 2 hours north for another gig the next day where I did the opening keynote and I emceed the rest of the day. So as you're hearing this, you're probably thinking to yourself, why did you do it? Why didn't you just tell the client, like, I feel like shit and I can't do this. I'm really sorry. Well, this is what I want to get you thinking about this week, and it really is something that got me thinking about it too, because I asked myself that on the plane as I was coming back, like, why didn't I just say no? You do lots of gigs throughout the year, Stuart. I mean, financially you could say no. You're not going to go bankrupt if you don't do this gig. And I started thinking about my relationship with my job, and it made me realize that my relationship with my job is an extremely strong relationship. It's very important to me. I mean, I really believe that what I do matters in the lives of other people. And I believe that what you do matters in the lives of other people as well. But I think about this a lot with my work, and I think about how if I don't get up on that stage and I miss that opportunity to share an idea that'll hopefully help people change the way that they think and lead them to maybe something that's a better version of themselves, that to me that's a huge opportunity lost. And I can't imagine missing that. I don't like the idea of missing that. And so for that reason, it makes me quite frankly believe that you'd almost have to kill me to not get on stage. And so I want to get you thinking about what your relationship is with your job, because for me, when I choose a career, and when I chose a career many years ago, I knew that it had to be a career that made me feel fulfilled. And it doesn't have to always be one that like you get up on stage and you motivate people. That's one end of the spectrum. But I just knew that when I got to work and when I did my job, that it had to matter. It had to make a difference in some sort of way. It had to maybe just be one that makes a difference in the way that doesn't necessarily motivate people, but just makes people laugh or just takes their mind off of things. It doesn't have to be monumental each time. But because I've been so clear on that, then it made me realize that I can't break that relationship once I understand why it is that I do what I do. And I want to get you thinking about that this week. You know, why do you do what you do, and what is your relationship with your career? Because a career is a big deal. I mean, it's something that we do for at least 8 hours a day, in many cases 10, 12 hours a day, and that's a lot of time, not just in a day, but in a week and in a month and in a lifetime. And we just can't take that for granted. We can't just say that as well, it's just a job, or I got to pay the bills, or this is what makes my partner happy, or this is what makes my parents happy. That's not good enough. I mean, to me, that's a total cop-out, and that's just not fair to you. I think it's important for us to really give deep, deep consideration to the relationship that we have with our work, because it plays such a big role in our lives. And not just in our lives, but the role it plays in the lives of other people who are looking up to us as role models. Maybe they're your children, or maybe they're your friends, or your brother, your sister, or your partner, or your community. We have such a great opportunity with our careers to not just make a difference in the lives of other people, but to really matter in the lives of other people, to really influence the way people think, and to really influence the decisions that other people make. And it's not something that I think that should be taken lightly. And so I just wanted to get you thinking about that. I mean, if you were vomiting, would you still want to go to work? Okay, and I'm not suggesting that's got to be your litmus test, right? It's like most people would say, yeah, if I was vomiting, I wouldn't go to work. Trust me, if I had maybe a different kind of job, I may not have gone to work. But what stops you from going to work? Like, do you not go to work, let's say if you have a slight tickle in your throat and you're a little bit sick? Or will you not go to work, let's say if the weather is bad and it's just going to be a long commute that day? Or do you just not go to work on certain days when you just don't feel like going to work? Like, really get in tune with what your relationship is like with your job and your career, because I want you to consider whether or not changing your relationship with your career, whether or not it could have a big impact on your life, whether or not it could literally influence the way you feel, the way you sleep, the amount of depression that you do or do not experience, the mental health anxiety or mental health issues or anxiety or stress that you go through, or the way that it allows you to be or not be a role model to people within your life. I want you to think about that, because it's that relationship that really influences so many other components of your life. And if you don't think about it, then you miss out on strengthening that relationship, in this case with your career. And the stronger our relationship is with the work that we do, the stronger our lives are, and the more our lives matter, and the more joy we get from life. And that's within our control. And I'm not suggesting that everybody watching this has to just go and quit their job. Sometimes it might just be saying, you know what, I'm going to make a greater effort at my job to make people laugh, or to engage people in more powerful conversations, or to really take the time to manage people in a meaningful way, or to ask people that I work with if there are ways that I can help them, or to use my job to dedicate time to a local charity. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to make our job the kind of job that really matters that much more to us, and it's within our control. And if we are the ones who then control and strengthen that relationship with our job, we're actually really strengthening our relationship with life. And it's too big of a deal to not think about it. So anyway, I thought that'd be a story I would share with you. I thought it would be important that you really understood my insides, like really not just what's inside my brain, but what's inside my stomach. All right, and you know, I'm glad that I'm through that now. And maybe the next video I will give you a visual representation of what happened. You never know with me, really. So, anyways, lots of love. I hope that gets you thinking this week. Feel free to share it with someone else if you think it might make them think as well. And don't forget to always remember that we are the ones who are controlling the relationships that we have with ourselves and with our jobs and with everything around us and life ultimately. So control those relationships and you'll be able to be the one who's in greater control of your life. All right, I hope this helped. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching that video, my friend. I would love to have these videos land right in your inbox. If you want to get that, just sign up right here. If you do, you're going to get a free gift, exclusive content, and you'll be the first to learn about amazing things that we have coming up.